Hey guys, what's up everybody? Welcome and welcome back to the Apex Academy of Mathematics. We are learning the language of the universe begins here. My name is Akin and I am your tutor for today. Alright guys, and in this video we are going to be discussing yet another fundamental principle in math, and this mathematical principle is what we call the Pemdas principle, or otherwise called the order of arithmetic operation. Basically, this kind of tells us the order in which all math operations must be done. Okay guys, now I have placed here for you some notes which I'm going to quickly kind of go through and tell you what these notes are and what they're saying. Yes, and we've implemented here the acronym PEMDAS, which I'm going to be explaining to you in briefly how this is done. All right guys, so make sure that you stay tuned, and of course if you're getting some value from this video, be sure to hit like, share this video, and also subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for future tutorial videos. All right guys, all right, good. Now also this channel it's built for rebuilding and reconstructing and shaping students into better math students. Yes, building your foundation from scratch and helping you to become much better and to conquer that fear that you have in math. All right guys, so be sure to stay tuned and watch this entire video for the best value that you can get. All right, good. So let's jump into the video guys. So with the order of arithmetic operation, this is kind of self-explanatory here. The order means that something must be done in stages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so forth, in order. Yes, and arithmetic is basically mathematical operations. All right, mathematical operations. So basically there are four standard or four basic arithmetic operations that we have in math, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and of course I forgot the word division here, but you know I can just write it right in here, division here. Okay, all right, good. So there are four standard operations in math. All right, but there are other what I would call subsequent principles that you must consider, right, which I'm going to be explaining to you here, which are called parentheses and exponents and stuff. So it says here that the order of arithmetic operation basically tells us the order in which we must do our daily arithmetic calculations, such as, of course, as I mentioned to you before, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But in addition, there are some subsequent principles that you have to take into consideration, such as what are called parentheses. All right, parentheses is basically like a synonym for brackets. I mean, I don't think that is a synonym, but they basically okay, so a parenthesis is the curve one like that, and the brackets is the square one like that. Yes, brackets is a square one like that. That's the bracket. This is a parenthesis, but they serve the same purpose. It's just that we use them interchangeably depending on what the problem is. All right, so depending on how many calculations that we're doing within one basic or one overall calculation, we may use them interchangeably. Okay, but yes, they serve the same purpose. But in our daily conversation, we often refer to this here as being a bracket, but more or less it's the same. Yes. All right, good. So for the order of arithmetic operations, the acronym PEMDAS is what we use to determine which operation should be done before which, basically. All right, and there are many acronyms out there. You have GEMDAS, you have BIDMAS, you have BODMAS, you have BOMDAS. There are so many, depending on how you view the math, or depending on your teacher, or depending on your culture, or whatever it may be. There are different things that persons use, different mnemonics that persons use to help you to understand. But more or less, I prefer the concept PEMDAS. No, it's just a personal preference. All right. So what does PEMDAS, or what does the acronym or the mnemonic PEMDAS means? Well, the P in PEMDAS stands for parenthesis, of course, which I explained to you before, is the curve brackets like that. It's a curve one like that. All right. But you can also, more or less refer to this as being a bracket also. Yes. All right. So in our language, we may use brackets that refer to this, but no matter. All right. Good. All right. So the E stands for exponents, which basically is like a number that has a power. Say for example 2. Let's say for example here 2 to the power of 4, or 3 squared, or 5 to the power of 3, numbers like that. Okay, oftentimes you may see it written like this: 5 squared, right? That's 5 squared, 5 to the power of 2. That's what this means. So if you see this, it means a number raised to a power. Okay, all right, good, nice. All right, so that's what exponents mean. Yes, that's what exponents mean. All right, good. All right, so let's move this over here. Okay, all right, good. So the M, of course, stands for multiplication, the D stands for division, the A stands for addition, and the S stands for subtraction. But there's a little bit of what I would say, sometimes students do get confused when it comes to when the multiplication and the division appears in the problem at the same time. Students often do the multiplication, or they're tempted to do the multiplication because it is explained that this is an order. So they're thinking that, hey, I must do parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication always third, division fourth, addition fifth, and subtraction sixth. Well, no, that's not necessarily the case, because if the multiplication and the division comes in the problem at the same time, then that's what this word or is for. It means that whichever one appears in the question first, meaning from left to right. That's how we read a math problem. That's how we read our book, from this side towards that side. So whichever question comes first, whichever operation I should say comes first, that's the one you should do first. And the same principle that governs multiplication and division is the same thing that governs addition or subtraction. Yes, so you just got to take a little bit of care when it comes to multiplication and division, and also addition or subtraction. But for the other operations, pretty much they follow the sequence in which Pemdas has indicated so far. All right, guys, so that's good. So if you're getting some content and you're understanding the explanation so far, be sure to hit like on the video and don't forget to subscribe. All right, so let's jump into some examples of how we use the principle of Pemdas to help us be better at this math here. Let's just erase this page here. Okay, all right, and let's skip to the next page here. So I have about 10 examples here for you, 10 basic examples. It should not be a tough working out, but let's see how we can go through these questions real quick. Okay, all right, so we have question number 1 here. Yes, question number 1 here: 4 times 5 divided by 2. This is somewhat straightforward because you can clearly see that from the left side here to the right side here, you have the multiplication. So we have M. Okay, let's put it right down here. So we have basically M right here, and we have D right here. So according to Pemdas, M would come first naturally, then D naturally. So to work this question out, you're pretty much just gonna work this part first. Yes, and then this division of 2 will come down here. Yes, so 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 divided by 2 is actually 10. All right, so that should not be a very difficult problem at all. All right, so that's 10 for you there. All right, good. That was pretty easy. Now let's go to question number 2 over here. 15 divided by 3 times 4. All right, so 15 divided by 3 times 4. 15 divided by 3 times 4. All right, so for this one pretty much you just got to be a little bit careful, because sometimes a student, as I said, most of the time, if they overthink, they might think that, hey, I have to do the multiplication first, then the division. But remember, we had explained to you on page 1 here that it's not necessarily M then D, it's actually M or D. So in this question here, even though Pemdas says here P, E, M, then D, according to the order, there's an or here. There's an or between the M and the D. So that simply tells us that if the division comes first, then that's what you have to do first. So in this question here, we are going to basically just do the 15 divided by 3 here. That's equal to 5. Yes, that's equal to 5. Okay, let's just erase that and write that a bit clearer for you. Oops. Okay. All right, so we have 5 here, and then we're going to times that by 4, and we should easily get 20 as our answer right here. Right, so that was not difficult at all. All right, so I hope you got that right. So let's move to the next question. Let's just create some space here. Yes, let's create some space here. All right, so we have a combination of addition and subtraction right here. So let's see if we can do this. So you wanna do the addition first here, quite simply. So this just basically tells us that we're just gonna just add the 10 and the 5 and subtract 9 from the result. So 10 plus 5 is basically 15. All right, 15, and that's just going to minus 9 from the result. Yes, and so our answer is clearly going to be 6 right here. All right, so that was not difficult at all. Hope you got that right, guys. All right, so the next one now is also another combination of subtraction and addition. So I've made these examples for you because students often tend to follow the order, as I said before, P, E, M, D, A, S. When students see this, they're like, oh, I must do add first, then subtraction. Yes, but remember that there's an or that I've placed between addition or subtraction, because it's not necessarily that you must add first, although you can. You generally want to do the subtraction first, then the addition, because the subtraction appeared in the question first from left to right. All right, now even though you can add first, you've just got to be a little bit careful. All right, just got to be a little bit careful. All right, so let's see here that 15 minus 3 is actually 12 here, and we're just gonna add 8, and that should give us a result of 20. All right, now of course, as I said to you before, you just got to be a little bit careful if you decide to follow the order, because if a student say, hey, I'm gonna add first because Pemdas tells me to add first, then what usually happens when they try to add first is that they say, hey, this is 15. Yes, 15, and they'll say, hey, this is 3 plus 8, and they'll get 11, and then the answer will comes out to be 4, and you'll be like, okay, good, I got the answer. And then the teacher will be like, oh, this is incorrect, and they'll be like, why? I followed the principle or the order. But actually, if you decide to add first, you just got to take care that this is not a 3, this is actually a minus 3. This is actually a minus 3. So you just got to be careful there in terms of what you're doing there. All right, we discussed this in addition and subtraction of integers worked examples. Check that video out, guys, in terms of how you associate your numbers. Yes, how you associate your numbers. You just got to be a little bit careful in terms of how you do this. All right, so if you're going to add first, be sure to include the sign in front of the number. All right, so this would work out to be 15, and of course we know that this is going to be a positive 5 because the larger of the two signs the larger number takes the positive sign. So basically we take the 3 from the 8 and we get 5 positive, and that gives us our original answer that we got to be 20. All right, so I hopefully that was clear for you. Of course, feel free to replay the video and watch it again to see exactly what I did earlier. All right, so let's jump into some more cross examples. All right, so 9 times 4 minus 17. This is kind of straightforward. There is no if I should do that first or which one first. It's generally just you must do the M then the S. Straightforward here. M then S. Okay, so 9 times 4 is actually simply 36. 36 and 36 minus 17, that pretty much gives us our final answer of 19 right here. All right, awesome. So that should not be very difficult for you. And same thing here, we have 12 divided by 3 plus 9. You have to do the D first, that's a must, then the A, because there is no or that's connected between division and addition or multiplication and subtraction. So it's just generally 12 divided by 3, which is 4, and 4 plus 9, that gives us 13. All right, so those examples are somewhat, I should say, straightforward for you. All right, great, good, wonderful. All right, let's move on to just the reversed. Yes, so temptation again. As simple as these problems appear to be, we have students who fundamentally make these errors when they reach further up. So you want to definitely not take this content or this video for granted. You definitely want to watch this to the end. All right, so here what we have is 9 plus 7 times 3, and you know you have to do the multiplication first. But what catches a lot of students is that they add here, and they'll be like, oh, 9 plus 7, they just add from the left, they just do the operation from the left to the right. But according to Pemdas, you have to do multiplication first and then addition. So instead of adding 9 plus 7, which is going to basically give you 16, and then you're going to times it by 3 to give you 48, you're going to have to do this part first right here. All right, so 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, let's just write this better here. That's 21, and that's just basically let me see here, that's just 9 here. Let's bring this 9 down, and let's plus that to the 21, and we should basically get 30 for our answer. All right, and over here it's more or less the same. We're gonna have to do the division first. Yes, the division here. All right here. So 27 divided by 9 basically gives us 3, and that's going to bring that 3 down, and we should get a total answer of 0 here. All right, so here we have a combination of all the signs together. All right, so this is basically like all of these examples here put together in one question. All right, so we have, let's first identify the signs that we have. Let's try a different color ink here. Let's try green here. So here what we have is that we have S, we have M, we have A, we have P, which is the parenthesis, and we have D. All right, so naturally we want to follow the order that Pemdas says. So we're going to do this part first here. So I'm just going to basically move this problem up here. Just leave it right here for now, and just get me some space to work out. So I'm going to do the P first. I'm going to just write down the remaining numbers that were here before. Okay, so I have 14. I have 14. Okay, let's just fix this up a little bit here for you. All right, so I have 14 minus 6 times 2. I'm going to work what is in the parenthesis first. So that's going to give me plus 8. See, that plus comes right here, and that's 8 right here divided by 5 here. All right, and then I'm simply just going to say, hey, what comes next now is the multiplication part here. All right, so I'm gonna have 14 minus, and I'm gonna work this part here, 6 times 2, that's 12 here, and that's plus 8 divided by 5. All right, good. So I'm going to change this number right here. I'm just gonna erase it here, and I'm going to put a different number. I'm going to put 4 so that the problem is easier to understand. So I'm going to put 4 here. All right, while I was making this question, I might have put a number that may not be able to go into 8. So I'm just going to erase this 5 here, and I'm going to put 4 here. All right, so the next part of the problem comes is the division. So we have 14 minus 12 plus, I'm just going to divide, I'm going to get 2. All right, and this brings us down to the kind of problem that we had up here, the kind of problem that we had right here. Yes, this and this part here is similar, so we're just going to subtract first, and 14 minus 12 is basically going to give us 2. Yes, and 2 plus 2 is actually going to give us an answer of 4. All right, so hopefully that was clear for you. Yes, awesome, great. So let's move on now to the last problem. I'm just going to clear the screen right now here. All right, I'm just going to clear the screen right now. All right, and then I'm going to just move this problem up here and move this one. Oops, let's not cut it. Let's move this one down here. All right, awesome. All right, so we have another question here. So now what we have is a little bit more complicated, but still doable. All right, so here what we have is, let's just use ink here. So we have D here. So this is D here, and we have a little multiplication here, right, because the 5 is in front of the bracket here. So we have a little m right here to deal with. We have a little p right here, and we have s right here, and we have m right here, and we have a e right here, and we have e right here. Okay. So one step at a time, guys, one step at a time. Let's do the parentheses first. So we have 30. Let's just erase this here, it's hiding behind the screen. All right, so we have 30 divided by, and we're going to put a 5 here, but we're going to have to still keep that little bracket right here because there is not a sign between the 5 and the bracket. So when that happens, then the sign that is understood is a multiplication. All right, so you can put a bracket there or you can put a multiplication, but generally I like to keep the bracket there. So 10 minus 7 is actually going to be 3 here. I'm just going to write the remaining numbers again until we get to that part, 4 to the power of 2. All right, good. So now what we have next now is we have to deal with this multiplication, this bracket, this parenthesis part still. So we have 30. All right, and we're going to divide that now by 15. 5 times 3 is 15 minus 6 times 3 plus 4 squared. Okay, all right, so now we have D, S, M, A, and E. So just going to do the division next. All right, so 30 divided by 15 is actually going to be 2 minus, and we could simultaneously do this part next because this part is already done. So the next part that naturally come is the multiplication, so we could just do that at the same time here. So 30 divided by 15 is 2, and then 6 times 3 is 18 plus 4 squared. All right. Oh, I actually broke the rule because after I completed the parentheses, I actually should have done 4 squared first before I did the division. But here's the good thing about Pemdas. It actually doesn't hurt you if you do a step before another step, especially if they're not connected. If they're not connected, it doesn't hurt you, right? If they're connected and you do one before the other, then that might be a fundamental error. But here, even though I should have actually done the E, then the D, then the M, it doesn't affect my problem here. So I could just simply say, hey, 2 minus 18 plus 16. And again, we end up with a final line here that looks a lot like this part up here, right here. So 2 minus 18, all right, that's going to give us negative 16. And negative 16 plus 16, that's going to give us the additive inverse identity, which gives us a result of 0. 0 here, guys. Right, awesome, good. So that pretty much takes us to the end of this video. It was quite, I should say, a lengthy video, but the most important thing here is that you understand the concept and you may never need to struggle with this kind of problem anymore. All right, guys, so be sure to take the time out to listen to the video, and if you are getting value from this video, of course, don't be afraid to smash that subscribe button or hit like on the video if you do like it, and share it with your friends and your families and your social media sites and so forth. All right, guys, so do take care until we meet again in another fundamental tutorial video. Akin Apex Selenium saying goodbye for now. Take care, guys. See you soon.